Hello everyone, and welcome to the final week of the regular season for EGF's season in Overwatch. Today, we are starting off with a match between the Notre Dame Green Knights and Shelton's Gael Goons Black. This match will be followed up with the New Haven's White Tigers against the Kanor's Panthers at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. My name is Del, and I'm joined today by Mr. Ro, or Richard as I like to call him.
How you doing, Del? Yes, my name is Ro, and this is the last week of matches. This last week of matches, these games will finalize the seeds to playoffs, which starts Wednesday, November 29th. Let's go. Right now, we're on Route 66. Tell me what you think about this map, Del.
Well, I love Route 66, and boy, do you know what I love about Route 66? I get to see my man, Mr. Pink, on Junkrat. This guy is an absolute nutter extraordinaire. Last time we saw him switch from the Lucio and Ilios to the Junkrat, and boy, did he soar to heights that I never saw a Junkrat soar before. And, you know, I think he's been a key member of the squad's success. And one of the things that I think we're going to see really shine today is how effective he is on this Junkrat today, and see if he can lead his team to complete in those little bit higher placings in these playoff weeks approaching.
All right, now we're on this attack. We're going to see Alex on the Widow. We'll have to see if he land a nice hook shot, maybe land a quick pick onto unsuspecting Mr. Pink right here. He's playing up real close with the Junkrat.
Yeah, you know, I mean, he's going to go for that early game spam, and that could be really key here, but they are going to be fast approaching into this first attack here on Route 66.
Right, and we see the Live Memory on the main tank, just pushing the payload right now. We'll see if he jumps in soon. Right now it looks like Mr. Pink's going to be landing that huge mine onto Reyes. Reyes has to back out, but now we have Lead Memory jumping onto gas station, gonna force a lot of the Gael Goons off, and Mr. Blonde just running around on the roof. He's gonna start contesting the point. Lead Memory goes down, but it gets rezzed immediately by Monk. Alex getting a huge pick on the game waffle. 17 already used his res on KCMPC. Pulse bomb coming out already from Lib Lelouch, landing it onto Mr. Blonde, and now it looks like the Gael Goons are going to be forced off this point. 17's still standing. He's going to be trying to heal up X-Shaman, but both of them go down.
Hello.
You know, that was a really great take there by the offense. We saw a big flank coming in from Liblouch on the Tracer, and I think that was really sick to see that flank. And, you know, we have one more contest from the defense here, and let's see how they shake it up here with these ultimates coming in play.
Alright, Mr. Waffle's going to land the pin onto Live Memory, but Live Memory is able to get out alive and get the pick on the game waffle. Reyes taking down Mr. Pink. 17's going to be getting the res on Mr. Pink. Now looks like the rest of the Gael Goons will be coming back onto the point. Lib Lelouch able to get the pick on the KCMPC. The tower comes out from Mr. Pink, but D-Boy gets down. Mr. Pink getting the pick onto Monk. That is huge. Monk just barely getting onto his Valkyrie. Lib Lelouch once again taking out Mr. Blonde. And right now it looks like Alex just uncontested on this high ground, getting a headshot onto Game Waffle. Valkyrie for 17 about to run out. Gonna be landing a couple pistol shots onto Alex, but now the Gael Goons will hold.
Wow, what a great hold there. You know, it looked pretty dire there coming into the last push, but you know, they didn't have quite the same amount of effectiveness from the DPS. They didn't have quite the positioning advantage that I think they should have. And as we lead into this kind of last half of the attack, we're gonna see Liblouch drop right away to Mr. Pink.
Right, that's gonna be a huge pick. Just Monk has to burn his res on that. Reyes gets a huge self-destruct, taking out X-Shaman and Game Waffle. 17 has to pop the res onto X-Shaman, but he has no Valkyrie. Monk's gonna be popping the Valkyrie instead. Lib Lelouch comes back up. Beat drop coming out from D-Boys to keep the Knights up a little bit longer. And Primal Rage able to take down 17. Alex uncontested on his high ground once again, takes down that X-Shaman with the headshot, and that's the cleanup of the Gael Goons.
You know, Alex, we're seeing the key part of this offense is definitely going to be how they work this space. You know, first we saw Tracer getting the big flank in there, but then we saw Alex with the Widowmaker on the high ground, uncontested. And that's definitely going to be the key to this Route 66 defense, because this map is about picks, because both teams have such a large time that they have to walk back and forth from the spawn. And so what I'm going to be looking forward here is whoever can pull the trigger on these ultimates. And as we have a lot of ultimates here on the defensive side, I'm looking for a massive graviton from KC and PC.
Huge combo coming out. Graviton into Riptire, taking down D-Boy and Alex. 17 nowhere close to Valkyrie, or actually kind of close to Valkyrie, but that's already a one fight.
What a on cue, you know. Sometimes you say the caster's curse, but that was the caster's call, man, and that was just a great graviton there with a big follow-up from Mr. Pink there as they set up on the second point. You know, the one problem that they have now is they really got to manage their ultimates well. They have a Transcendence and a High Noon available with a Resurrect also online, so I'm interested to see how they kind of stagger these ultimates.
Right, Lelouch is also going to be swapping on to that Pharah. Monk's going to have to res Alex after he gets picked up by Mr. Pink. He's been landing these mines so well lately. Lelouch is just going to be raining some rockets down, X-Shaman putting some pressure on them, but meanwhile the payload wasn't getting pushed. So right now the Green Knights are coming back to the payload. Alex still getting the pick on the game waffle, and 17 has to burn the res on that, but another Riptire going to be coming out from Mr. Pink, taking down two once again. Reyes and D-Boy going down. The Transcendence coming out from game waffle, but Alex takes down 17 with that High Noon. You can't do anything about that burst damage with that Transcendence. Game waffle takes down Alex for the revenge, but right now the Gael Goons are holding.
And the Gael Goons, man, they're showing their swagger in this defense here. You know, we had Shaman with the huge pick on Monk, and then also setting up the denial in the High Noon. You know, that really made up for Mr. Blonde there, because Mr. Blonde went really offensive there and kind of did his own thing. But luckily, his DPS was able to pull it out for him on that push.
Right, and the Diva Bomb is going to be on top of the garage. I'm not quite sure where that was supposed to go. The barrage is going to come out. It's going to take down Mr. Blonde. It gets rezzed immediately. That's not what you want to see. Just one ultimate for one res that's on cooldown. Gaming Waffle's going to get taken down by Lelouch, and Mr. Blonde's able to take out Reyes' mech. But right now, the point is still being contested very heavily by the Gael Goons. Very good stall coming out from them, actually, going straight to point once they realize they're about to lose the point, and that's going to be the Green Knights pushing the cart.
And now as we slide into these final holds of the second point of Route 66, we are going to see a big ultimate advantage on the side of the attack. We have a High Noon, a Monkey ult, a Resurrect, and a beat drop coming in play for this last push, and so this is going to be really hard for this defense to get out of here.
Right, we see Alex sitting up on that high ground in the back. He's going to be caught in the grab, but it pops the High Noon, gets 3 kills. That's huge, taking down X-Shaman, KCMPC, and 17 during his Valkyrie. And now Reyes will take down Mr. Blonde, and that is the point for the Green Knights.
You know, this time and time again, we're seeing these fights be determined by the fate of the ultimates, and so what we need to see here from each of these teams is a really good usage of 1 to 2 ultimates per fight. And what we're seeing here is we're seeing 3 to 4 at a time, and that's going to be something that, you know, you'll win the fight, but you know, they're not seeing much success without 3 or 4 ultimates at a time. So hopefully some good usage comes out of here, and maybe we'll see even a defensive hold here from the Gael Goons.
Right, now it looks like the Gael Goons will be coming forward, contesting the cart. There's a lot of pressure going down onto Mr. Blonde, but Reyes is able to take down Mr. Pink on the side. Just some weird engagement. I guess Mr. Pink was trying to flank on the side. Unfortunately, this is Riptire as well. Self-destruct comes out, but the X-Shaman is able to take down Reyes. Lelouch landing a solo barrage on the X-Shaman, just taking that pesky McCree out of the fight. 17 get a direct landing on 17, but able to grab the health back, and now the rest of the Gael Goons will be coming back to the cart as the Green Knights have to reset.
And the name of the game of this third point is control of 18-wheeler, right where we have X-Shaman positioned, and it's going to be really crucial for 17 and Shaman to work together to really keep control of this high ground. It's probably the most integral part of this point, and we'll see this third fight go getting away.
Right, so we have an offensive Valkyrie coming out. No picks quite yet. Both support ultimates used for the Green Knights. Lelouch takes on X-Shaman, and the Memory takes on Mr. Pink. Lelouch landing another pick on the game waffle, but 17's going to be popping that Valkyrie, getting 2 reses immediately, whereas it looks like Monk actually did not get much value out of that Valkyrie other than the healing. No double res there. Alex takes down 17 with that High Noon, but now and able to take down KCMPC as well. Right now the Green Knights are very steadily pushing this cart. The self-destruct coming out onto the cart and is able to take down Mr. Blonde. Monk, the Battle Mercy, securing the point.
You know, that third point was just a tale of really kind of weird engagements and defined by just better usage of ultimates on the offense side. You know, we saw LeBlanc consistently coming out with pretty good usage of his Pharah, and then the ultimate really denying the control of the high ground. And once Shaman was dead, we just saw LeBlanc just raining down these damages. And while he wasn't necessarily killing the whole team, he was doing really good damage, which sets his team up for just really great follow-up. And so I think ultimately what led to the Gael Goons' failure and the Green Knight's success was the fact that there was only really one option of contention for the high ground, and that was our boy X Shaman. But you know, we'll see how they can do. 2.7 seconds is not very much time. This map is also very momentum based. Usually, what happens and what we see time and time again is we see whoever wins the first fight will win the next 2 or 3, and the real opportunity for the next team to take it is on these second or third fights after, and that's just mostly due to the way the ult economy works. Basically, the idea is that if you win the first fight, you have a lot of ultimates, and it makes it really easy for you to hold, and you kind of have to wait if you're the losing team to find an opportunity in either a misuse of ultimates, maybe they use too many, or even then, maybe they just don't use enough, and maybe you're able to land that fat Dragon Blade or that fat Tire or whatever. You know, we saw some really great play from my boy Mr. Pink, as I spotlighted earlier. You know, that man was consistently getting 2-man tires almost every time he had an ult, and then third point he had a little bit of a harder time. And I think ultimately Mr. Pink's inability to find ults and Shaman getting shut down by LeBlanc was just the key turning point in that defense not being successful.
Right, now we're gonna have the Knight setting up on the gas station with the Junkrat, the Lelouch on the McCree, but it looks like the Gael Goons will be opting for a dive composition. We'll see what they do once they round the corner. Mr. Blonde's gonna go in with his missiles, but he's all alone. Mech gets taken down immediately. X-Shaman jumping in right after, but Reyes is able to get the pick on the Mr. Blonde. It's already a 5v6. Lib Lelouch gets the pick on the X-Shaman, and it's a 6v5 right now. Lib Memory just contesting the card immediately, creating so much space for his DPS right now. D-Boy's getting pressured by KCMPC in the back, and that's just too little, too late. There's not enough damage, not enough coordination on that dive.
No, I think I'm gonna buy the Gael Goons a stopwatch because their timing was really off there. I mean, you know, we saw the D.Va just completely on her own, and timing is so crucial with dive, and so they really got to make sure they're timing these initiations and really working together here. And that's gonna be what sets them up for a successful offense here.
All right, we'll see if they can do another dive this time. Looks like KCMP is going to be opening again. But once again, they're going in alone. X-Shaman and Mr. Blonde are caught elsewhere. KCMP is going to try to push the carts, but looks like Lib Memory will be looking to contest that. Riptire coming out from Alex, taking down 17. That's a huge pick. Reyes getting the mech, and Lib Memory taking out KCMPC. Monk has to burn his res on D-Boy, but it's already a 1 fight for the Green Knights. Mr. Pink just going to be dying on cart right there, as the Ryan just swings his hammer.
And again, it's not to be a broken record, but dive is really just dominated by good engages, and what we're not seeing from the offense is these really healthy engages. We're seeing a lot of trickle, and so I like this approach that they're coming in from the side, from these different angles, and hopefully they'll set them up with the Dragon Blade, the Mercy ult, and the Monkey ult online.
Right, now we see both the main tanks diving in. That's exactly what they needed. X-Shaman's going to be hopping in right after them. All of them gets pushed off the high ground by KCMPC. The Dragon Blade's going to come out from X-Shaman, forcing out the Transcendence from D-Boy. Unfortunately, the D.Va Bomb takes down Monk, and then a grab comes out. Lib Lelouch is able to take down Mr. Blonde, but now the card is rolling for the Gael Goons.
You know, that was an absolutely brilliant Monkey ult there, beating his chest and beating the enemies right off the top of the corner.
Right, now Lib Lelouch is going to get that last-ditch high noon onto Mr. Pink, but now the double res coming out from Monk. Both Valkyries popped. Alex is going to get the Riptire onto X-Shaman, KCMC taking out D-Boy. The Green Knights are actually putting up a very hard contest on here, despite being down very early in the fight. Mr. Pink's going to take down Monk, popping that tack visor, Live Memory is just going to be sitting on that card swinging, defending Lib Lelouch with his life. And both get taken down by KCMPC.
And we are going to see the Goons finally capture this first point. They have 3 minutes on the clock, and so they have a little bit of time to work for. But what they really need to be doing now is taking forward control as much as possible. This map is just so dominated by the high ground in the middle. And ultimately, if they have control of that, it's going to be really hard for this defense to really establish themselves here. You know, we are going to see Alex on the Reaper now, so maybe they're trying to counter this little bit of Winston aggression and try to make him back off. And we are going to also see another big monkey ult coming out, and we'll see if he can channel his inner XQC with this raging monkey.
X-Shaman's going to be caught in the back a little bit, trying to challenge Alex, but has to back out. And KCMPC is going to be jumping in, putting a lot of pressure onto this midline of the Gael, the Green Knights. Unfortunately, D-Boy gets taken down by D-Boy takes down Game Awful, and 17 has the burn of res on it. X-Shaman takes down D-Boy in turn. Lib Lelouch takes down the mech. Lib Memory takes down X-Shaman. He gets caught out between that Ryan and his hammer, and then Monk has to pop the res on Lib Memory. The High Noon coming out from Lib Lelouch, taking down 2 huge High Noon, taking down 17 and Mr. Blonde. Reyes is going to be taking down Game Awful, and that's going to be just a bit of a cleanup duty on Mr. Pink now.
And we are seeing Alex kind of working the flank, and I think ultimately what he should trade places with LeBlanc. You know, McCree's just a little bit better of a flanker, and with Alex playing with his tanks, he knows that the enemy team will kind of come to him. What I'm really looking forward to seeing here is how this Genji Blade comes into play from X-Shaman. You know, we do have an Earth Shatter to counter that out, so this could be really lethal here.
And KCMPC is going to be popping that ultimate once again. Gets burst down so fast. 1,000 health is gone in a blink of an eye. Transcendence is going to come out from D-Boy, going to try to keep his tanks alive. Mr. Blonde caught out. But now X-Shaman's going to be popping that Dragon Blade. Gets taken out immediately by D-Boy. Nice flashbang by Lelouch. Lib Memory's going to take down Mr. Blonde once that mech is once D-Boy gets D-mech'd. And then the Death Boss coming out from Alex. I forgot what the name was. It's been so long since Reaper has been used.
You know, that Death Boss was seemingly a solo ult, but actually it really did a great job of splitting the offense there. You know, we saw Game Waffle get cut off from his team, and ultimately they were just kind of cleaned up on. But we are going to see the Gael Goons regroup here for this seemingly final offense, and they have a Mercy Valkyrie online, and so we'll see how that matches up to the Graviton Surge we have from Raze.
Right now, the Gael Goons opting to go top left. KCMC gets burst down so quickly. 17 has to pop his ultimate, but now there's a huge grab coming out, catching 17 in the middle of his Valkyrie, catching both supports in there. Actually, Mr. Pink gets taken down on that Junkrat. He will not be able to build up that Riptire anytime soon. Now it looks like Green Knights clear the payload once again.
I'm on fire.
You know, that's just a case of really good use of ultimates. You know, we saw only the Graviton being used there, and there's nothing the Gael Goons are able to stop it. We are going to see Game Waffle get the contest here, activate that overtime.
Right now, D-Boy's going to pop that Transcendence, try to keep everybody up, but his team is just killing enough people right now anyways. Huge Earth Shatter coming out, and then a Death Blossom to punctuate that. That's going to be the game for the Green Knights.
Victory.
And what a game that was. You know, it was a little bit one-sided in the sense that one team didn't get the cart as far as the other, but still really good fights all around. And ultimately, I think what all that needed to happen is the dive needed to be a little bit tighter from the Gael Goons, and that would have just really led them to success. You know, we had Alex here with the play of the game, the High Noon, absolutely monstrous, and you can just see here he's free casting in the sense that he's just sitting there, no one's looking at him, and he's just looking down at each and every target, getting hit after hit after hit. The McCree play was really just something to highlight there. Lib Louch there on the defense was absolutely stellar. He had really great positioning and really just set his team up for success. You know, when you have that really strong backline presence, it's really hard to get stuff done. And in addition to having Alex on the Reaper for most of that defense, you know, dive is just really terrifically hard when it comes to that type of stuff. And ultimately, I think that we just saw some really nice, good team play from the Green Knights, and that'll really carry them through on these maps here. You know, one of the things that I'm looking forward to is, you know, the Mr. Pink and Mr. Blonde duo here on this next map, and we are going to be hopping into Ilios, which I know is a personal favorite of Mr. Pink. You know, we saw him on Lucio on his debut performance some weeks ago, where he got about four boops in the first fight, and that's something that, you know, if we get to that well map, that could be absolutely a game opener. You know, if half your team's in the well, how are you going to win a fight?
Now arriving at Ilios.
Nope, you can't even res that.
You know, I think that also too, it looks like from my perspective, the Gael Goons were just a little bit more used to these controlled maps and these faster paced fights, and so maybe this cough is their choice, and it'll come into a better aspect, something they're a little bit more comfortable in. Route 66 is not my favorite map, but what about you, Richard?
Actually, Route 66 is one of my favorite maps. I don't know why. A lot of people will disagree with me, but I feel like for me and my team personally, we just tend to upset teams there. I think we just have a really good way of stalling that last point out. We're able to take that high ground control pretty well. But let's talk more about Ilios. What do you think about these compositions?
I think that, you know, the boot comp is definitely real, so we're going to be looking for those Pharahs, those Roadhogs, and those Lucio plays. And that's something that, you know, we've seen Orisa brought out. I don't think she's been super successful. I think what's going to really define us in this Mercy Junkrat meta is going to be the Pharah, the Mercy, and perhaps the Junkrat, but most likely the Lucio here. Especially on an opener like well, this is a map where you can just shake the tempo of the game, and it's really anyone's play today as we lead into this first point.
We're going to see a triple tank coming out from the Gael Goons, actually. So if Lib Lelouch can land a hook onto any of them, then that'll be a lot of damage. Right now, both hooks going out and nothing for them. Lib Memory is going to be in the back, trying to put a lot of pressure on the 17. Gets the pick on the 17. That's huge. Right now, they have to... somebody has to land a hook, some kind of environmental, anything. Alex is also going to go down. Probably from environmental. I did not quite catch that going on, but there's a huge upset in the game right now. As X-Sham is going to try to run around, get another pick on his own. Lib Lelouch kind of just in the middle of Mr. Blonde's face, is able to demech him. But D-Boy's going to get the boop onto Mr. Pink. That's huge. 17 is going to be able to get the res on KCNPC. No environmental killer right there, and now the Green Knights are going to be able to take the points.
I don't know if you're a fan of Top Gun, but man, this map is really the danger zone, and we are going to see really big picks like 17 dropping almost immediately, and that's when you need to just be engaging right away. You need to put the pressure on the enemy team. And you know, not that it's much the 17's fault, but more to the fact that not capitalizing on that was why that took so long. But we are going to see the Gael Goons the Green Knights take that first fight, and we are going to see some ultimates come out here.
Right, actually, I've been already seeing it on a Dragon Blade, but the great beat drop coming out from D-Boy, able to keep everybody alive, and X-Shaman has to back out. Lib Memory able to get the pick on the 17 once again, just standing in the back, able to take off 17 out of the fight. X-Shaman taking out Monk in return. No reses on either side for this fight. Beat drop coming out from Game Waffle, but the whole Hog's able to take Mr. Blonde's mech out. Self-destruction coming out from Reyes, but forcing everybody off the point. But nice try by Mr. Pink, but Reyes has that booster, and now Lib Memory is going to be popping his Dragon Blade, and it's going to do so much damage to Mr. Pink. Able to finish him off in the end. 17's going to land that resurrect on the KCNPC. Lib Memory is able to take down his counterpart X-Shaman on the other hand anyways. KCNPC pops that Graviton, but unfortunately nobody there to follow up.
And you know, we are going to see the ultimates come in favor of the Green Knights, and they have point control here, so this is really not looking good for the Gael Goons here. We are going to see the Junkrat come out from Mr. Pink, and this is a personal favorite for him, so I'm looking for the big stuff coming out from him. As 17 drops to the pulse bomb once again.
I was just about to mention that both teams were sitting on a Valkyrie, but now it looks like the Gael Goons have to run in without that because they only have 13% left. Lib Memory's gonna get the pick on the Mr. Pink. It's a 4v6 right now. 17 has to come back to this fight, pop that Valkyrie immediately or something. He needs to turn this fight back in their favor. Valkyrie coming out from Monk. A lot of damage on him, but able to get out of the fight. 17's gonna pop the ultimate at the same time. Dragon Blade coming out from the X-Chain gets picked off immediately and unable to get anything from it just because of the beat drop. Lib Memory's going to be able to get a Dragon Blade going, but Reyes gonna get a huge Diva Bomb right there, taking out Mr. Pink and Game Awful. Monk's able to res D-Boy, but now the point is just so chaotic right now. Mr. Blonde's gonna pop that diva, forcing the Green Knights off the point, but they still have control. There's still 4 of them sitting on the point. Alex is gonna get the pulse bomb onto Mr. Blonde's back once again, and Liblelush is gonna take down KCMBC and X-Shaman. 2 huge picks and no res around for 17. Miss Liblelush getting a 3rd pick, taking down Mr. Pink, hooking it in and just popping that whole hog. And now, last person on point is Game Off. Liblelush once again getting that pick. A huge hook. Now the primal raid's gonna be coming out from KCMPC. Let's see if we can get anybody into that well. Reptar also coming out from Mr. Pink. Not able to get anybody from that. KCMPC getting the primal rage kill off the Reyes, and you can see that because the mech comes second in the kill feed. Libmemory able to take down X-Shaman. Both beat drops coming out from both teams. So there's going to be a lot of damage mitigation right now. 17's going to res X-Shaman, but X-Shaman goes into the well. That's so unfortunate. Mr. Pink's Marvin's going to take down Liblelush, but that gets resed immediately. D-Boy is taking down his counterpart, Game Waffle, with the boot into the well. And Libmemory is going to hop that Dragon Blade, take down Mr. Blonde's mech, and now will be the point for the Green Knights.
You know, that was one of the longest fights we've definitely had here on Ilios, and that's one of those maps that we are going to see, you know, really dominated by the use of Valkyrie, I think. I think that one of the things that we saw consistently was 17 dropping, and whether that was a product of their positioning or whether it was a product of their teamwork, I mean, that's something that you absolutely cannot be seen here, especially on these Koth maps. You know, the Resurrect is just really crucial here, and I think that ultimately what's going to make the Gillians successful here is cleaning up their position, being able to protect 17 just a little bit better, and maybe trying to shut down Liblelush and Libmemory, who are just really showing up today.
Right, that was 3 separate fights that they went in without 17. 2 picks from for Libmemory, 1 from Liblelush with the pulse bomb. But now we're gonna, or no, it was Alex on the pulse with the Tracer actually. Alex is on the Widowmaker now. It's a great map for Widowmaker. Long sight lines. The X-Shaman able to take down Liblelush. Probably a flashbang headshot combo. Mr. Pink on the Doomfist. Let's see him fist some people. We got D-Boy going down, but he has rest immediately. Alex taking that X-Shaman from the distance, but Mr. Bond is able to take him down from the distance. And now Mr. Pink will be taking down Monk. That Doomfist is doing so much damage on this point right now. KCMPZ on the Zarya is so high energy, it's going to melt this Diva suit. It's going to go down immediately, but now Libmemory is going to get the Dragon Blade, taking down Game Waffle, taking down next KCMPC, and that's the point once again for the Green Knights.
You know, that was just absolutely a great play. You know, we had a huge advantage here for the Goons, but they just didn't clean up. You know, Liblelush and Libmemory. You know, I'm starting to see the connection in their names. These guys are just a terrifying duo here on the DPS here.
Right, now we have Alex on this Widowmaker. He's just going to be standing uncontested on this high ground. Mr. Blonde did pick him out at one point, but he's gets to pick once again onto X-Shaman. He got a pick earlier, but that got rezzed. Right now it's 5v6. They need to either pull out or try to get some picks so that they can go into the point later with an advantage. Right now KCMPC is going to be stepping on the point. Mr. Bond's in deep, but unable to get anything for it. Now, looks like Mr. Pink's going to be going into the back, trying to get some picks, but Liblelush is able to get the flashbang. Alex gets a body shot along with Liblelush, and now the huge Deadeye coming around, taking down both supports from the Gael Goons. Mr. Blonde goes down to the Dragon Blade. That's only 2 ultimates used. Such good ult economy coming out from this team.
You know, triple DPS is definitely something you see in comp a lot, but I mean, these guys are just using it to really great effect. You have the Widowmaker in the back, the Genji and the McCree kind of working the point. And that's just really setting their team up for success as they keep getting kill after kill after kill.
Oh, you see that Graviton in the Meteor Strike? Are we gonna see a big bang combo? Big bang combo? D-Boy has that sound barrier. We'll see if he pops it in time. Brad comes out, Meteor Strike coming out, and also the self-destruct, but then the Meteor Strike's gonna get nothing done. The sound barrier was too good, but then Mr. Pink takes on D-Boy with the right click on Doomfist. Monk's gonna res that. 2 ultimates used, not very many picks for it. D-Boy taking down Mr. Pink in return. Libmemory is able to take down 17. No reses no Valkyrie actually for the Gael Goons. And Liblelush and Libmemory are going to be cleaning up this point. X-Shaman able to get the pick on the Liblelush. Very nice pick actually, but gets taken down by Libmemory and then rezzed immediately. Mr. Pink gets rezzed, but it's too little too late. 17's Valkyrie was not enough. Not in that fight.
You know, they might be the usual suspects, but they are not the winners today. We just see just this incredible TPS coming out from the Lib boys. You know, I really I think they just have just a raw mechanical advantage on the Gael Goons, and I think that it's just really hard to deal with especially when you have someone just constantly and consistently raining damage in from every angle. That's just really, really crazily something to deal with. You know, you have pressure from every angles. You know, we saw Doomfist pick. How are you a fan of the fist there, Mr. Richard?
The fist. Oh, whenever I see him, I immediately tell my team to just go for a lot of crowd control. So we get a McCree in there, we get a Hog in there, just shut him down as much as we can, because that is just too much burst damage.
Yeah, it is a lot of burst damage, and I think that ultimately he's not the strongest pick right now. I think maybe if you were the Doomfist, you know, or you were Terry Crews himself, or reincarnated in the video game, I think that would be a good pick. But ultimately, I think what would have made the Gael Goons a little bit more successful is they went for more of a tank-heavy composition. You know, if you can't compete with people mechanically, that's completely fine. You know, Overwatch is not a game of mechanical skill. You know, does mechanical skill play a huge factor in it? Yes, but you can beat people with teamwork and friendship alone. And so, what I really would have liked to see was maybe a Winston, you know, thrown into the mix, and maybe even just, you know, 4 tanks, pull something out like the Chinese and just reinvent the whole meta. You know, something that I think that if you're going into a match and you're like, oh man, these guys, you know, they're 8-0, they're just unstoppable, they're unbeatable. What you do is you figure out who their key player is, you figure out who the weakest link is, and you kind of attack one of those points, you know, and maybe a large amount of tank play, or heck, even triple support. You know, we're gonna see Moira coming out into effect here. You know, I think she'll be available by the time the playoffs are. So that's definitely something to think about. And, you know, even though the Gael Goons lost today, as always, I'm a big fan of Mr. Pink. I'm a big fan of 17. I think that they're really great players that have shown a lot of variety. You know, more so with a variety with Mr. Pink, but 17. You know, they are always a great player, and I love seeing them. And it's been a really great games today. And you know, the best part about today is that we're not done yet. We're gonna have another match today. We're gonna see the White Tigers of New Haven against the Panthers of Kador at 5 p.m. Eastern. And I really just want to say, you know, thank you for tuning in the match, the first match of today, with the Grey Knights coming out victorious against the Gael Goons. We're gonna take a quick break. You know, I'm gonna drink some water, and I'm gonna hang out, and we're gonna really prep ourselves for this really intense match we have coming in at 5 p.m. And I hope we'll see you there.